It began as an ordinary autumn trip. The Miller family, James, Sarah, their daughter Anna, and little Thomas, were driving through rural region on their way to lakeside. The air was crisp, the smell of pine drifting through the open windows. Laughter filled the car. Sarah sang softly to Thomas, who clutched a worn wooden toy car in his teeny hands. They entered the forest just before dusk, laughter still clinging in the voices. James carried the map, certain he could lead them to the perfect campsite. Sarah walked beside him, trying to hush Anna, their curious 8-year-old, while little Thomas toddling along. But as the trees thickened, the light faded too quickly. The forest floor twisted with roots like veins beneath the earth, and the air grew heavy, damp, almost suffocating. When James checked his map again, the trail had vanished. No matter where they turned, the same crooked tree with a hollow trunk stood in their path. By the time night fell, the forest was alive with whispers. At first they sounded like wind slipping through branches, but soon they became voices, rasping, overlapping, calling each family member by name. James, Sarah, Anna. Anna whimpered, clutching her mother's sleeve. Mummy, they know us. Their lantern barely pierced the darkness, yet in its weak glow pale face flickered at the edges. White, hollow-eyed, mouth stretched too wide. When James tried to shout, his voice was swallowed, vanishing into the air as though the forest itself devoured sound. The family ran. Branches clawed their skin, drawing these lines of blood. Every time they looked back, shadows lung closer, some dragging themselves across the ground, others hanging limply from trees as though strung up by invisible ropes, swaying without wind. At one point, Sarah swore she felt a cold hand wrap around her ankle. She screamed, falling hard when James pulled her up. Her leg was bruised black where fingers had pressed, though no living thing stood near her. The hours dragged like years. Sometimes the spirits appeared close enough for their faces to show clearly. Eyeless sockets bleeding black, jaws broken and hanging, skin peeling like bark. Yet when James swung a branch at them, they disintegrated into clouds of ash, only to reform seconds later. The voices grew louder, crueler, laughing, "Stay, stay forever." By the time dawn threatened, the white moors could barely stand. Anna's sobs had become hoarse cries. James clutched his wife's arm, dragging her forward, but their legs felt like lead. Then, as the first thin light crept between the trees, something changed. The whispers rose into a shriek so piercing it rattled their bones, and then silence. James, Sarah, and Anna collapsed together, eyes rolling back, bodies trembling before going limp. Only Thomas remained. The boy sat quietly among the fallen, clutching his toy car. Staring at the trees, the ghosts circled him, their faces hovering inches away, yet none touched him. Their forms rippled, recoiled as tough as unseen barriers surrounded the child. They only watched him with terrible hunger. When morning broke, villagers from a nearby town entered the forest, drawn by the night unearthly wails. They found the white moors sprawled in the clearing, pale and cold as though drained of strength, their skin marked with bruises like phantom fingers. And there sat Thomas, wide-eyed, silent, untouched. The family was carried out, breathing but unconscious. As the villagers left, One lingered at the tree line, unable to shake the feeling of ice boring into his back. In the hush of the morning, he heard a whisper slither between the branches. Not the boy, not yet.